Hey everyone, I'm Greene and welcome to Curiosity Quest, the show that explores what you, the viewer, are curious about. Now today our quest letter came to us from Long Beach, California. Julia wrote, "Dear Joel, I love watching your show and I'm really interested on how they make surfboards. Can you help me?" Well, Julia, of course we can help you. Because of you, we are down here in one of my favorite cities, San Diego, California, where we're gonna learn how to make surfboards, but we're gonna learn how to make them with a green twist. So let's begin today's Curiosity Quest Goes Green. All right, so we're in the surf shop, and I'm here with Ned from Malama. Ned,
how you doing?
Thanks for having us out here,
you
man.
Bet. Thanks for coming down.
You bet. First of all, tell us a little bit about Malama. I love the name. What is that?
Malama is the Hawaiian word that means to take care of or protect, because that's what we're trying to do here. We make surfboards with a green twist. We started out about 4 years ago, and we use mainly plant-based technology to replace some of the toxic stuff that was in most surfboards today.
Okay. Now it's crazy because when we started doing research for making surfboards, we were excited to find that you make these surfboards with a green twist. What is this green twist? What is the green element to it?
Well, to better understand what's green, I think it's best if we go through the steps of making a surfboard first, and then you can see how we do it a little differently to make it green.
When surfing, what is a blank?
Maybe a blank is when you miss a wave or something. You're like, whoosh, oh, that was a blank.
It's like a wave goes over you.
Never heard of it. Nothing.
What I'm doing now.
So, well, what's the first step to making a surfboard?
So the first step is the material that's inside this board is foam. It's referred to as a surf blank. Mm-hmm. And the way surf blanks have been made for the last 40 years has been pretty bad chemistry. The stuff that goes into the foam it will make you sick.
Oh.
So we decided to change that up. But the process of doing it is still basically the same.
All right, so now how do most companies make surfboards?
Well, it starts again with the blank, the core material, and most blank companies, they actually pour the chemicals into a bucket and sort of stick the bucket under a milkshake, big giant one,
yeah,
and then pour it by hand into the mold. What we do is we use a machine so that it's all computer controlled, it's a lot more precise, we get an even flow of foam. The foam is very consistent through the thickness of foam. It makes a much better quality foam.
Oh, cool.
So that's sort of where our special bit of chemistry comes in, and that's where we add all plant-based oils instead of using petroleum, and that helps green the blank up.
So instead of using oil, you're actually using plant oils. Instead of like black oil, like oil, plant oils.
Yeah, so the stuff, the machine puts the chemistry together, it comes up through these hoses, and gets spit out the head right there. So once the foam is poured in here, it's liquid. It's sort of in the consistency of like honey.
Okay.
And then it gets put into a mold like we have here.
Oh, cool.
And about 20 minutes later, we can open up the mold.
Oh wow, 20 minutes?
About 20 minutes, and there we have what a finished blank looks like.
So this is what the inside of every surfboard out there looks like?
Nearly everyone, 99% of the boards are made with this type of core.
So we can just punch out as many as we want, huh?
Yeah, we do, probably 100 a day here.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Now, let me go back here. You said that this is the middle of the board, the surfboard.
Right.
And the way they used to make it, the chemicals would make you sick?
When the liquid was being mixed, before it was put into this mold, the chemicals that are used to make that liquid have ingredients in them that are very dangerous to humans. We took away those dangerous chemicals and we're using things that aren't so dangerous and in fact safe for the people that are making the foam and safe for the local environment too. We don't make anything that's bad for the environment.
All right, so once we have the core, what do we do with it?
Okay, so we take that core.
All right, now follow me.
Here's your fun fact.
Surfing was developed in Hawaii and spread to the California coast in the 1920s.
The next step is to put the foam in here so that we can let it cure overnight.
Curing, what is this doing? What is it?
Well, just where you were saying that the blank felt a little soft or breakable, if you put it in here overnight and this room gets really hot, it helps the foam cure, the chemical reaction cure. And so yeah, you can see that this one's much stronger. Okay, so the next step is cutting the blank in half so that we can put a stringer inside the board. And Ryan, my partner here at Malama, he's about ready to cut one in half.
We made such a beautiful blank and we cured it and he's just gonna slice it in half?
It's actually gonna look nicer after this though, just wait.
Oh, okay, all right, wow. Oh, wow.
See, now you can see what the blank looks like in half. You can see the inside, so the foam expanded from that liquid to fill the mold. Right. And it's solid foam inside there. You see, this is still really flexible.
Oh, you gotta break it, right? No?
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're gonna glue a piece of wood into the middle.
Now, is it, you say the wood, that's the stringer.
The stringer is a piece of wood.
What does the stringer do?
It makes the blank stiffer. What we're going to do is get this ready to put a stringer in. So we're going to just flip it up on its side like this to get ready to apply some glue on either side.
Okay.
Ryan, who cut the blank in half for us, is going to cut a stringer, which is just a piece of wood that will be cut to this curve to fit inside here. And one key thing is that there's different kinds of wood to be used, and this is kind of an interesting thing. And part of the greening process, most boards use a solid piece of wood like this. Mm-hmm. We try to use plywood wherever we can, and if you look closely there, you can see 3 pieces of wood. Mm-hmm. But the difference is you only get about 2% yield when you use a solid piece of wood.
What do you mean 2% yield?
You know, if you had a tree and you're going to cut it down, you're going to throw 98% of it away to get this one piece of wood.
Really?
Where the yield on plywood is about 60%. So it's a lot less waste to use plywood.
Now, let me ask you a question. How did you get involved in this?
I had been a surfboard shaper for a long time. What happened was in the end of 2005, one of the major companies that supplied surfboard blanks to the surf industry around the world closed down. And part of the reason they closed down was because they had some people get sick in their factory because of the chemistry. They had some trouble with EPA because of the pollutants they put into the air. So when they closed, it left a big void in the industry.
Yeah.
And I got a couple phone calls saying, let's start a blank plant. But I didn't want to just start the same kind of blank plant because I knew it was toxic chemistry. So I saw it as a chance to do something different. And the cool thing is now the foam, especially plant-based foam, is being used in many other industries because we're making everything from surfboards to wind blades.
All right, so what do we do when this is cured?
Okay, this will be ready to come out of these clamps in about 10 minutes, and then this actually could go to a surfboard shaper to start the process of shaping this into a finished surfboard.
Okay, how long does it take to get a surfboard from the foam to an actual rideable board?
How long does it take to make a surfboard?
6 hours.
A few days?
Weeks, maybe months.
Probably an hour. I think like an hour.
Like 2 hours?
Well, the steps, if you just did them right one after another, you could do a board in 24 hours. Wow. But that's not the way the industry works. Usually a shaper will shape a batch, and a glasser will glass one side of the board, then the next day he'll glass the other side. So it takes about a week to get a board finished.
Here's your fun fact.
Though surfing is practiced in many other nations, its mecca remains in Hawaii, where the International Surfing Championships are held annually.
How long have you been a shaper now?
13 years about.
Dude, how old are you? You're like what, 20?
28.
Now, what's the most challenging thing as a shaper that you encounter?
Just tailoring every aspect of everyone's individual needs as a surfer to their specific shape that they want to ride is probably the hardest thing.
So as a non-surfer, which I'm not, I've surfed twice, what do I need to know about how my board needs to be shaped?
Well, as a beginner, you probably just want something basic. You're not going to need anything really high performance.
Nah.
You'll probably just need like an egg or a fun board or something that'll float you enough to where you'll have enough stability so you can stand up on your own.
An egg?
Egg.
That's what they're called, an egg?
Kind of like that shape right there.
This is what considered like an egg?
Yeah, something along those lines.
I can go for one of those, man. That looks much more comfortable. How do you carry this thing? Can I?
We put handles in it.
Really? So you can actually carry it out?
Yeah, they'll glass a handle.
Oh my gosh. What is this, like 12 feet tall? 10, almost 11 feet tall.
Yeah.
Wow. That is huge. And I was just handed your board?
It is. This is actually made from our soy foam, the bio.
That is sick.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Did you design this?
Oh, my friend painted it, and I've been shaping. This is one of my favorite shapes to ride and make as well.
So when you say shape, like this, the smooth
Oh yeah,
outside?
everything from the curves this way and that way and that way. The outline, these little bumps here. It's called, which is the thickness in the middle, the outside contours. There's very slight contours in the bottom here, and these little bumps here.
Wow. I'm sitting here thinking, just give me a board, I'm going, and you're like getting all detailed and concave and coils and wow.
That's all my magic tricks.
That's your magic tricks, huh? All right, so we moved down the road to Alan Beal's Surfboard Services. And so we have a board to shape, huh?
Hey there, yeah, this is a blank that you just saw get glued up, stringer in it.
Uh-huh. Well, hang on a second. So this whole shaping thing again, this is what you're doing the sanding part, right?
Yeah, this is the foam core that
Yeah.
we're going to turn into the finished shape before it gets fiberglass. The board that we make out of this will obviously be smaller than this amount of foam. Right. And you can see we've drawn a template shape. That's what the outline of the surfboard is going to look like. And how this is decided, the size of it, is up to whoever's getting the board. And you can make 100 different versions of it. But here's one that's already shaped, so you can see what it looks like. And when we are shaping a surfboard, we don't use this overhead light. We shape the board with just the side lights so you can see the shape so much better. Wow. So I'm just going to turn this off, and now you can see the contour of the shape. And if you were to pick it up on its side, you can see this dark shadow along here, and you can tell if it's a smooth curve or if it has any bumps or anything in it. Wow. So you can see that this board is much smaller than what the blank was.
That's unbelievable because this is really thick and this isn't.
Right. And this is all done by hand. We'll start out with this power plane that has a blade here that would start to cut into the foam, and then we have various hand tools and different types of sandpaper to get it to this stage.
How long will it take to shape a board?
It takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours, with bigger boards taking a little bit longer.
So this is coming out of this.
Right.
All right, so this is nice, and we're gonna go from here to...
Actually, to see the skin or the glassing be done to the board.
What does it mean to glass a surfboard?
Don't know. Wipe it? Wax it. Glass a board is maybe to like wax it or like have it smoothed out and waxed.
To put gloss over it.
Wax?
That's the spray paint to make it shiny at the end.
Turn it?
This is, a surfboard is being glassed right here. This is the first step that occurs after the board is shaped. And what we do is we wrap the board in a cloth This particular board is made out of fiberglass cloth, and Micah is just pouring resin on it, which is the thing that glues the cloth to the foam core. So he's just glassing the deck of that board. And here's where some other greening things happen, though. I can show you. Here's the scrap bit of fiberglass that came off the board that Micah's glassing.
Fiberglass? There's no glass in this, or is there?
It actually is glass, and the problem with fiberglass is to get it so that it's flexible like this, it's actually drawn through really toxic baths of chemicals to give it this pliability. And when you cut this, it's really bad stuff to breathe.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna stay away from it.
Let's stay away from that. Most of the boards in the world are still built with this.
As we're seeing it's being put on right now.
Right,
okay.
And it's a good, strong material, and it's the way it's been done for 50 years, but hopefully at some point in the future we'll move away from that. Some of the things that we've used is this fabric here. It looks a little bit like fiberglass in the same weave, but it's actually made out of hemp.
Hemp.
Right, it's a plant. And this one here is a little tighter weave. You can see the weave through there, but this is made from bamboo. It's very strong, but all these new materials, although they're sustainable and cleaner, they all have a little bit different look. So these are some alternatives, and we're working with all of these to try to make the boards a little bit greener along the way.
Now, what would make somebody who come to buy a surfboard want this over this?
This is a hair more expensive. But the thing is, right now, this is how boards have been made for 50 years. This is how the majority of boards are still made. So it's part of an education process in two ways, not only in terms of us as craftsmen learning how to use these materials, but it's also education for the consumer that wants to do something better or cleaner than what's been going on for the last 50 years. Okay, so the resin that Micah put on the board is like the glue that's going to glue that fiberglass cloth to the foam core. This glue that he's using is called epoxy. Epoxy's fairly safe to use, doesn't really put any toxic fumes into the atmosphere, but this is a far safer resin than the average surfboard resin, which is called polyester, which has styrene, and it gives off toxic fumes to the environment, and it is bad for the guys that are working with it. And then if you remember, the board we had in the other shop had linseed oil as one of the resins. We've also used some resins made out of soy. So there are some plant-based resins now too that are available.
You said linseed oil?
Any plant that puts out oil, that oil can be converted into some sort of glue, whether an epoxy or other types.
Here's your fun fact.
Waves are created by the energy from wind as it blows over the surface of the water.
All right, so you really can't see the stringer that well on this board. You wonder why? Me too. And that's why Megan is going to answer the question. Megan, why can't we see the stringer on your board?
Well, this board is painted over, so that's why you can't see the stringer.
When we say painted over, you mean like regular paint?
No, water-based paint, all good for the earth. And one of the best things about working here with Malama is that I get to test out all the boards and all the materials. So it's really fun. Sometimes they break, sometimes the water wave will make certain things come undone, and then the guys get to see what needs to be stronger or used more of.
So did you have an accident recently?
I did. I had a little accident. One of the waves came and kind of hit it kind of hard and just a little bit unbuckled, and so they could tear it off and see what happened there.
As a rider and as somebody who works here at the company, is that something you're constantly having to do to figure out how to repair, make it better?
That's the only way to learn. Right here, this board got ridden a few times by a local professional surfer, and it's really the only way to know if the materials are working properly is to take them out in the waves.
How many boards do you have?
Well, I have 3 main boards, and one I use for when the waves are smaller, because it's more buoyant and thicker. Then the other board I use for certain swells when they come in, because they work better for me going right on the wave. And then I like this board for south swells because the waves are left, and I go better going left on this one.
Now this is tall.
This is a bigger board, yeah. It's better for bigger waves because it gets you into them, and it's more comfortable being on a bigger board when it's bigger out because you just have more to stand on.
All right, so Ryan went over all these. I have no idea what he was talking about with the board, the fin and the wave and the diamond and everything. Can you give me some cool surfer things I can do in the water?
Well, once you catch a wave and you're on the wave, and then the wave is going to kind of close, you can come up on top of the wave and float down. That's called a floater. And sometimes you can float to the next section and then keep going on the wave. Or a lot of waves down here, they'll kind of close out soon, so you can just go on, snap up, and then float down. Turn around if you want to. You can just go up high and then land back down.
Dude, that is
aerial.
awesome.
You can do a little 360 on the top and keep going.
See, that is cool.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh, the barrel. Oh, how could I forget the barrel? That's every surfer's dream. I've only gotten 3 in my entire life. A barrel is when you're on the wave and it covers you up and you can kind of see out. You can see. That's the best thing on earth.
It's just like, you know, that dream when you do that and you like reach up to touch the top of the barrel as it's enclosing on you. And then when it just collapses and you come out and, I want to do that. I saw that in a movie once. Now, on a typical year, how many days will you surf?
Every day there's waves.
Here's your fun fact.
The term hang 10 is when a surfer has all 10 toes on the nose of the board. This is an extremely difficult trick to pull off.
There's one more step to this before it's ready to be sanded. When it's in this stage, this is the last of the cloth that's put on the board. One more coat of resin will be put on the board so that the board can be sanded smooth. And we can see some of that right in here. Here's a board that you can see that's not sanded yet. So there's some edges, and if you feel it, you can feel like there's little ridges and things. So that needs to be sanded. And they sort of look like this when they're...
Oh, when they are sanded? Can I take this out? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, so the glass shine is gone.
Right. The next stage after sanding the board is what's called glossed.
Here's your fun fact.
Waves in the open sea are often 50 feet high, and the biggest wave ever seen by man was about 112 feet high.
This room is a final stage where you take the board and you polish it. When you polish the board, it ends up being super smooth, but you see how it's more shiny? That's polished.
Yeah, very smooth.
So again, you can see the core material is white. This white here is the blank.
Yeah.
This blue is painted onto the foam itself. You can see the stringer in the board. It's been glassed and it's sanded, and then this blue line here was painted on top of the finished board, and then it was glossed and polished.
Okay.
So you can sort of see all the steps right here in this one little bit.
How can surfboards be green or eco-friendly?
By mixing colors. If they're like, maybe if they're bamboo surfboards, maybe they're eco-friendly.
They can be recycled by different materials, like you can use recycled styrofoam or many different materials.
They're recycling trees because they're made out of wood.
Use styrofoam and recycled plastics.
If you ride it good,
So if you had this board, you can have a foam that's toxic, a resin that's toxic, a glass that's toxic, or we can go with a soy core that's not toxic, no bad fumes for the environment or for the workers. We go with a wood that is very strong but has better use of the materials. We can use fabrics that are made from sustainable plants, and we can use resins that are made from plant-based oils as well.
Wow. So you were saying that in order for people to order these boards, it's about education, right? It's about learning that this is available now and that you have the technology to make these boards more environmentally friendly.
Absolutely. But any surfer, he wants a board that performs well first. It's got to be price competitive second. And the fact that it's green becomes a bonus.
Yeah.
So if we were just making green surfboards that didn't perform well, it's not worth the effort. We have to make surfboards that are as good or better with the green materials than the commonly used materials. And that's what we're doing right now. We're making boards that the foam is stronger than the average foam.
Yeah.
The fabrics are stronger than fiberglass. And the resins are as good or better glues than what's available right now too. And that's the key. Performance is number one.
Well, speaking of performance being number one, so the only thing that I haven't seen or done today with regards to a surfboard is ride one.
Well, let's go to the beach. You can paddle around.
Let's go to the beach. All right, so we're going to the beach?
Cool.
All right, let's go. Let's do it. We're not bringing this board though, are we?
No.
All right, we'll get a different one.
Show me what you look like when you're surfing. Big wave, the waves are coming. The big, huge wave. What are you going to do? Big wave, big wave. What is, what? No, big wave, big wave. Big wave's coming over your head. You got to get, there you go. You got to get down. There it is.
Made boards and we're down at the beach.
Okay, you ready for your third day of surfing?
I am ready for my third day of surfing.
So here, I think we have a board for you.
Okay. That's not a board, that's a boat. That's the boat we were talking about. Look at that thing. Holy mackerel.
There you go.
I cannot believe that fit in your car. Look at that. That's your name.
Here, we'll give you a little bit better board
Ah,
to
sweet.
take in the water.
Oh, there we go. Seriously, Ned, I want to thank you very much, man. Seriously.
Thanks for coming down, and hopefully everybody can surf Greene now.
I appreciate it. Well, thanks, Ned. And I want to thank everyone else for teaching us how to make Greene surfboards. And I especially want to thank you, Julia, for sending us on today's Curiosity Quest Goes Greene. Now, if there's something that you're curious about, why don't you write to me? Go to curiosityquest.org, click on the Send Us on a Quest link, and simply tell me what you're curious about. And it could be you that sends us on our next Greene adventure. Now remember, this is our planet. And it's our responsibility to take care of it. So I'm curious. Have you gone green? I'm Joel Greene, and I'll see you next time. Maybe I should take them both out. No, I'm kidding. I'm not taking that thing out. Are you kidding me? You need a license for that thing. Woo-hoo!
If you'd like to order a copy of this episode or a previous episode, visit us at www.curiosityquest.org.